Good morning. I'm just going to pin what this is so that in case anybody has any questions. Okay, good morning. Just getting this. Nice. Okay, awesome. Good morning, everybody. Happy Saturday. How are we all feeling? I'm going to start to pin at the very bottom here kind of what the session is in case anybody has any questions about timing. If you join in halfway through, all of the good things. Hope everybody's feeling so great today, ready to move. I started this morning like heavily cleaning the house, so I'm like in desperate need of some alignment and some like actual movement from like vacuuming on one side. Coming here from Brooklyn, for anybody that's new, it's nice and sunny, feeling pretty good. We've got snow. Where are you? Whoa, can't wait to get warmed up. I'm like, where is that happening? If you're new, this is what we're going to be using is a small 9-inch stability ball. If you don't have your ball in hand or if it hasn't come yet, no worries. Grab onto a firm pillow. You can use a towel. You can also try without, but the reason why I like this is because it adds a little bit of a give. It adds a little bit of instability. I mean, my whole method's created around it, so I love it so much. But if you don't have it, there are many other props that we can use. Anybody have any like quick last minute questions? I mean, we're like on time or early, everybody's showing up. Feels so good. I'm so excited. I love a Saturday class. Are you teaching for Mother's Day tomorrow? Oh, that's a good question. I will be teaching for Mother's Day tomorrow. So yes, we are on for 10 a.m. tomorrow. I mean, I especially feel like all the moms out there need that hour to themselves. Hopefully you can like find the time to really make it here on time for that, and everybody else in the household will give you that time, which would be great. So yes, we will be here. And that's about it. Okay. Today's session will be 60 minutes, full body always. We're going to start with your feet directly underneath your hips here. You're going to squeeze the ball between your ankles. So give it a nice squeeze. I want you just to softly bend your knees through here. You can take your hands on top of your pelvis into a triangle shape, and we're going to find yourself start to lift up through the abdominals. We're going to just take a few deep breaths here. So you're going to take a deep inhale through your nose, and then exhale. You're going to start to feel your ribs expanding out to the side on your inhale, and then on your exhale, you're pulling your ribs together, zipping it up tight. Your hands are here, trying to keep yourself into that neutral pelvis. Deep inhale, and exhale. Keeping those knees soft, start to reach your hands forward, and then taking your arms back behind you. So taking your hands forward through here and back, you're finding your weight over your heels, but still pressing your toes down, so you're not only on your heels, you're kind of evening out with just a light weight on your heels. Keeping the core engaged. Here's a really great chance to find your neutral pelvis. Check in to see if you're arching, check in to see if you're tucking. We want to find that in between here. Start to bend your knees, reaching your hands out, pressing through your heels, lifting all the way up to a straight leg. Bending the knees, pressing it through and lift. So you're keeping the core engaged, keeping those inner thighs squeezing the knees, and lift. We're finding resistance in space, so you're actively pressing your arms back. Bend it through here, and lift. Also, because this is a very centered movement here, try to feel both sides of your body working very evenly. And then we're going to hold this position. Start to take your arms back behind you and forward. So you're pressing your arms back, reaching your hands forward, keeping your abdominals in here. You're trying to keep a straight back. Check in with your neck to make sure your neck is in line with your spine. Check in with your jaw. Make sure that you're not gripping there. We're using this beginning part of the session to really connect into your body. Feel your body. Feeling where you're needing to work a little bit more focused today. And then one more. Reaching your hands forward through here, turning your palms inward, start to bend your elbows in, stretching your hands out. Bending it in, stretching it out. So you're really reaching out of your arms, keeping the abdominals in. Starting to work your Arms all the way out in a full extension, but try not to keep the chest from collapsing. And let's do one more. Your hands stay in. We're going to lift up through here, keeping your palms facing in towards your body, bending the knees. Lifting up in the core. Bend it down. So nice intentional movement here. Reminding yourself that your core is the start of every movement. Lift it up and back. Whew. The blood circulates very quickly in these moves, so try to get every piece of your body connected. You're going to hover down in this position and start to take your arms back and forward. So check in with your palms to make sure that they're facing inwards. So a little bit different than the arm position that we started with. If you can, you're kind of pulling your weight over your heels slightly so that you can feel your glutes activating as well as your inner thighs. And then taking your arms back here and hold tiny pulses up with your pinkies. So your arms are squeezing in, but you're keeping your chest open. So try to keep your fingers in line with your shoulders. You're not going to really squeeze them any closer in towards your back. You're keeping them in line here. Check in with your neck. Keep connected here, and you're going to hold the arms up. Start to bend the elbows and then press the arms back. Keeping the abdominals in and out. Really nice. You feel your triceps starting to work. Abdominals here. If your lower back, if you are prone to lower back issues, you're welcome to do a little more of a tuck in the pelvis, less of a flat neutral pelvis. We'll work our way towards the neutral pelvis. One more. Good. And then you're going to take your hands back through here. Start to round forward. You're going to reach yourself up. So you're holding this diagonal here. Circle your arms all the way around. So your hips and your knees and your legs don't bend any further. You're rolling forward. Reach your hands out. Circle them around. 3 more. Adding some nice mobility in the spine. Straight through. Circle around. 2 more. Rounding forward. Circle around. 1 more. Rounding forward. Reach it up. Now you're just going to do the arms. So you're reaching your arms up over your head. Taking your arms back. So your palms are facing down to the floor now. You're trying to find your widest wingspan here. So you're really reaching out of your fingertips. You're intentionally moving in space here so that you're creating your own resistance. 2 more. And 1 more. Reaching the hands forward. Let's lift up in the chest. We're going to externally rotate the legs slightly. So just rotate your toes out just a couple inches here, not too aggressively open. Just enough so you're kind of opening up in the hips. Reaching your hands forward. Let's soften the knees here. So just a slight bend. Taking your hands back on top of your pelvis here. Feeling your thumbs kind of like lifting up into your belly button. We're just going to take 2 deep breaths here. Deep inhale and exhale. 1 more. Deep inhale and exhale. Start to extend your hands forward here. Your knees are just very lightly bent. Take your hands back behind you and forward. So find your range of motion with your arms too so that your body can stay very stable. My first one went a little too far back, so I was finding myself kind of shifting over to my toes. So just make the arms a little bit smaller here. Feel the inner thighs. If you can feel kind of like this whole hip working, glutes, you're getting there too. We're going to start to bend your knees as you pull your hips backwards, reaching your hands out, lifting up, and you're squeezing the inner thighs. Bending it back, lifting it up through here. Bending it back, and lift. Reaching the hands out. Your shoulders should be nice and warm. Your legs should be warming up. Your core should be activated. And up, let's do 1 more. And up, and then we're going to hold the bent knee position here. Remind yourself that ball is squeezing from inner thighs. Feel this wrap around your glutes. Start to reach your hands back behind you and forward. Shifting your weight back over your heels so you can turn off your quads a little bit. We work those enough in everyday life, so we want to give those a little bit of a break. And forward. Really listening to the movement. You can kind of like stare into space, like you're very focused, but if you really focus on what's happening internally in your body, you'll really be able to hear what's going on. And one more. And then you're going to take your hands back through here. Just start to bend your elbows, pressing the hands back. Keeping the core in. Now's a really great chance to pull the ribs together. Check in with your long spine. Keep the abdominals in. Keep the neck nice and long. Remind yourself to breathe. I want you to breathe comfortably today, so whether your inhale or your exhale happens at a different time of the exercise, that's fine by me, as long as you're really, really continuing to breathe through every exercise. Try not to hold your breath. And let's do 2 more. One more, taking your hands back, turning your palms down to the floor. Start to do tiny pulses up with your arms. The movement's going to be a lot smaller. Try not to feel like you're squeezing between the shoulder blades. More of like a lift up through your triceps, a lengthen the neck, an abdominal lift through here also. And let's do 2 more. And hold your arms up through here. Start to bend your elbows in, pressing your hands back. So now it's a little bit more of a bicep curl, keeping the abdominals in. If you're feeling any sort of lower back pain, you're also welcome to do a little bit less of a hinge here, keeping the abs in here, going to this position. If you're finding that the hinge is still allowing you to connect into the core, keep the hinge here. And 1 more. And then we're going to round forward. So you're keeping those knees bent exactly where they are. Reach your hands up. Circle them all the way around. Rounding forward, reaching out through the arms. Circling them all the way around. Really connecting into the body. Continuing that mobility in the spine that we worked on in parallel. All the way around. Let's do 1 more. And up. And then just do your arms through here, reaching your hands up over your head. And back. All the way up. And back. Let's do 3 more. 2 more. And 1 more. Take your legs all the way up straight, lifting up to the core, reaching your hands forward through here. I want you to slowly start to roll forward. You take your legs in parallel. You're going to walk your hands down so that they're directly underneath your shoulders, and then drop your knees down to the floor. Keep your toes underneath your hips, toes curled underneath. Take the centers of your elbows facing forward. So we're going to work on that throughout the whole entire class. So make sure those are forward, shoulders are back. Start to hover your knees up here and hold. And then drop the knees down. So you're lifting up to the core. Your knees are just hovering very slightly up off the ground. Drop it down. Your abdominals are lifting your knees up. So we're not going to go too high so that your spine does not straighten out and it starts to kind of tuck or it starts to arch. You're just doing very tiny lifts. 1 more. Lift. And hold. Let's open the knees out to the side very slightly, keeping your toes tucked underneath. You can start to squeeze your heels or squeeze the ball a little bit more intensely from your heels. Hover the knees up and hold. Drop it down. Let's hover the knees up and hold. Drop it down. So keeping the core in here, hovering up. Feel the difference between the parallel and the external rotation. 2 more. Lift. And drop. 1 more. And drop. You can uncurl your toes, sit back into a child's pose, stretch your arms all the way out. And then we're going to start to tuck your toes underneath. Make sure that ball is between your ankles here. Give it a really good grip here. Stretch it out. We're going out into a full plank. Stretch it out through here, squeezing the inner thighs. Elbows, center of the elbows are facing towards your toe or your fingertips. Give the ball a slight squeeze. Start to bend your knees. Your knees are hovered up off the ground. Zipping up through the inner thighs, stretching through the top of your head. Bend it in through here. Elongate all the way out. Bend it in. Stretch it out. If the full plank feels like too much today on your shoulders or your spine, you can always drop your knees down. You can do the same type of thing with the knees on the floor. Bend it back. Stretch it out. Let's do 2 more. And 1 more. All the way out. We're going to hold this position. Tiny pulses in on the ball. Think your inner thighs are zipping up. Your shoulders are back. Let's do 3, 2, 1. Bend the knees wide. Sit back into a child's pose. When you're in the child's pose, take one nice big deep breath. And then turn your knees into parallel. Press back into your child's pose again. We're going to start to tuck your toes underneath. We're going out into a full plank again. Elbows facing forward, abdominals stay in. Bending the elbows in parallel now, pressing through your arms. Stretching it out, elongating through the spine. Bend it back. Stretch it up. So you're bending your knees here. This movement is very active in 2 different directions, so you're continuing to lengthen out of the spine. Feel your abdominals as an extension of your legs, as an extension of your arms. Everything is very connected here. And 1 more. Press it all the way out. You're going to hold your plank. We're going into a pike. So you're going to lift your hips up. Press through the arms. You're going to slowly roll through the spine. End up in your plank. So we're going to lift up here. Also, if your wrists are hurting you at all, you can drop down to your forearms. Really listening to what your body's telling you today. Lift it up. Rolling through the spine. 2 more. Lift it up. Whew. Inner heat. Definitely beginning. 1 more. Rolling through the spine. Let's hold here. Let's slowly drop your knees down. Sit back into a child's pose. And then we're going to slowly start to roll all the way up. So you're going to go onto your knees here. Taking your arms back behind you. Taking your hands back on top of your pelvis here. Lifting up through the core. Engaging the glutes. Shifting your body forward very slightly. Let's take your arms out to the side. And then squeeze your arms in towards your side here. You're just lifting it up and squeezing. Do you feel the sweat beginning? I'm feeling very warm. Squeezing the ball and down. So because the ball is between your ankles and you're in parallel here, I want you to still feel like it comes from your inner thighs. 1 more. You're going to take your arms out to the side, turn your palms up to the ceiling. We're going to lift up through here, turn your palms facing down to the floor, back out into a T. Palms go up and back and lift and back. We're stretching out the shoulders. Because a little bit later in the class we have some leg work that involves some upper body work as well, so we want to make sure that we don't put too much pressure on our shoulders too early. 1 more. And out. And now you're going to hinge backwards here, extending through your arms. So if your shoulders are aggravated with your arms a little bit high, you can reach your arms down to the floor on a lower diagonal. We're going to do some swimming here. So you're opening your arms up. Stretch it through, really opening up your chest. Reach it out. So you're at this forward hinge, really trying to turn off the quads if you can. It takes a lot of practice to turn on those glutes. So what you want to do is kind of lift in and up, shift your weight slightly forward so your abdominals are kind of holding you in here, and then pull your hips kind of like up in this direction. 1 more. And then reverse, bending the elbows, reaching the hands out all the way around. Keep your breathing going here. All the way around. And out. 2 more. 1 more. And then take your hands all the way back. Take your hands forward and back and forward. Your shoulders should feel nice and mobile after this. You might even get a little bit more of a lift in the arms after doing some of those moves. 1 more. Whew. Okay, reaching your hands forward, taking your knees slightly apart. Let's sit back into a child's pose. We're going to do kind of an active rolling through child's pose extension goodness here. You're going to start to roll through the spine. You're going to hover your feet up. We're going to lift up out of the chest into an extension. You're pulling your abdominals in. Slowly starting to roll through the spine. So you really want your abdominals connecting this movement. So if the extension feels like too much, listen to your spine and how far you can go, but still controlling the movement from the front of your body. So you never want to sink into the shoulders, sink into the back. You're lifting up. You're reminding yourself that every exercise in my method is a core exercise. So if you're not connected there, check in with your body, make sure you're pulling that in, and that's the focus. 2 more. Up. 1 more. And up. Whew. So good. Okay, press it back. Nice stretch through here. Amazing. All right, let's grab onto the ball. Flip your legs around to the front of your mat. Okay, so let's take the ball in between your knees. We're going to do a little bit of spinal articulation here. So if you're feeling that you're not able to do your full articulation all the way down, just start by activating the core, just tiny lifts here. If you're feeling good, you're feeling like your spine can take it today, let's go all the way down, rolling through your spine. Scoop and roll all the way down, taking your hands up over your head. Let's circle them around, pulling your chin in, slowly starting to lift all the way back up. So you're peeling through the spine, your abdominals are controlling this move. You're rolling all the way down. Circle your arms around and slowly start to lift up. If you're also feeling that you're ready for your roll down, but it's a little bit challenging to get up right now, you can reach your arms around. You can start to walk your hands up your legs here. It gives you just a little bit of an aid. And then scoop and roll all the way down. It's also mobility of the spine day to day is very different. So some days you might find it extremely easy and your spine feels like it can lengthen out, your abdominals are connected. Some days might not be the same, and that's totally okay. Definitely today is a little bit more of a challenging day for me in these roll downs. Scoop and roll down, peeling through the spine. Taking your hands up, let's circle them around. Slowly starting to lift back up. And we're going to pull the abdominals in. We're just going to lower down very slightly. So your low abdominals are connecting here. Your chest is nice and open. You're pulling in the core. Let's take both arms slightly out to the side, and you're going to actively pull your arms in through the center. So checking in with your body to make sure that you're engaging your arms and resisting in air. You're squeezing that ball more from the inner thighs, less from just the knees. If you're finding your hip flexors a little bit too aggravated here, you can also take your feet together. Sometimes that helps to externally rotate in the hips a little bit. We work so much in parallel in everyday life that I love to do an external rotation of the hips because I find that it's so necessary to get inside of there, add that mobility, in case you ever want to do like side splits out of the blue at a party. Not that I do that. 1 more. Pull it back to center here. Scoop and roll down. Let's go all the way down, taking your hands up over your head, circling them around, slowly starting to lift. And if you're not doing the roll down, you can always take a moment here for that release of the spine and the abdominal break. Scoop and roll through here. You're going to take just your right arm out to the side, pressing it in. We're going to keep switching arms here, keeping the core engaged. Open it up and back. Nice connection in the abdominals. If you're feeling this in your back, like your back working, and it's not pain in your lower back, you should be feeling that, okay? We are going to be feeling between your shoulder blades. You have a nice transverse muscle here that's hanging on that wraps into your spine. It's the corset muscle. We have to work the front to work the back. And then back to center here. Let's scoop and roll down 1 vertebrae at a time, taking your hands up over your head. Let's circle the arms around, pulling the chin in, lift all the way back up. 1 more here. Hovering in this position, we're going to twist over to the arm that's back. So you're going to go twist, 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 back to center. Try to allow yourself to do that twist, 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 back to center. The extra little twist is also this extension of this front arm. You're almost pulling your hands apart, so you're going twist, twist, twist. Also find the twist that feels right for you. You might not have as much mobility today as you did yesterday, that's okay. Listen to your body, listen to where your abdominals are still connecting. You don't want to overly twist just because you're trying to get there. You want your abdominals to twist you and get you there. Twist, twist, woo. One more each side. Twist, twist, twist. Back to center, last one. Twist, twist, twist. Oh, nice. Back to center. Scoop and roll all the way down. Hands come up over your head. Let's circle them around. Pulling your chin in here. Let's lift all the way up. You're going to take the ball between your knees and you're going to find a wide stance in your feet. The ball goes between your shoulder blades. We're going to go right here. Find that sweet spot here where if you're opening up your chest over, you're finding your shoulders kind of wrapping over the ball, but your head can also be placed on the floor. Okay, find your stance here. We're going to take your hands behind your head, give them a clasp, take them underneath the nape of your neck, curl it up. Sometimes when you curl up, you might need to adjust a little bit. It's totally fine. If your lower back hurts you, add a tuck. If you're finding strength in the neutral pelvis, take your hands here, stretch out through your fingertips, lifting up through the core and back. Hands come back behind your head. We're going to open up your chest and then do a slight curl in the upper body here. So the lower half of your body is staying very stable. Going here and lift. And you want to think of your tailbone as kind of a grounding point if you are in that neutral pelvis, where you're actively pressing it down as you curl up. So you're feeling like you're still connecting into the low abs as you lift, even though you're feeling the upper abs as well. You really want to try to tap into that lower part here. Let's lift. And let's do 2 more. And 1 more. Let's lift up and hold. You're going to extend this arm out. You're going to squeeze it in towards your side. You're going to reach it all the way up over your head. So you're going to squeeze it in here. Reach the arm up over your head. So you're stretching out on the whole side of your body. I'm doing my right arm here. So my whole right side of the body is lengthening out. My left arm is holding up my head so that I'm not straining in my neck. And up. And 1 more. Take that hand back behind your head, keeping this lift. If you need to check in with your lift again, readjust. Start to extend this arm out. My palm is up towards the ceiling. Stretch it out up over my head. Trying to turn off your quads a little bit. Feel the weight in your heels. Feel your abdominals really connecting here. All the way up. 2 more. And up. Let's do 1 more. And then taking both hands behind your head, curl up a little bit higher. We're going to do both arms here. You're taking it here. If you can, take your hands up over your head. They might not go as parallel to the floor because of your neck. Reach them here. You can also take your hands here if it's a little bit too challenging to take your arms up over your head without gripping in your neck. So really listen to your space and your body here. Let's do 3 more. And up. 2 more. And up. Hello. We need a stretch after this. All the way up. Take your hands behind your head. Open up your chest. Whew. I'm going to readjust my ball here. Oh yeah. This is such a great stretch. You can live here forever. Okay. Hands come back behind your head. Let's curl up again. Finding your position here again. We're going to start to do some leg lifts and lowers, so if you need to add a little tuck, it's okay. Take your hands behind your head here. You can walk your feet in a little bit just to give yourself a little bit more stability here. We're going to start to hover that right leg up, drop it down. Let's hover your left leg up, and then drop it down. The key here is to try not to shift in your hips. Sometimes I like to take my hands onto my hips so I can just feel a little bit more of what's happening. Some days might be completely square. Some days might be a little bit more unstable. It's fine. We're working towards stability here. And lift. 1 more each side. And lift. Woo. And then start to walk your feet together. Open up your knees. Open up your chest here. Stretch out through the core. You can actually like feel yourself stretching it out. Hands back behind your head. We're going to curl up looking towards your abdominals. Your heels are going to be together here, and now your knees are slightly open. Hands behind your head. You're going to open up your knees as you open up your chest. Squeeze the knees as you lift up in the upper body. So we're going to open up in the chest. Do a tiny little curl here, pulling in. You're going to feel the resistance in between your legs. So as you're squeezing your knees, it's almost like I'm in between your legs, squeezing here, adding that extra little resistance, like you have an extra ball that you're squeezing there. 2 more. And squeeze. 1 more. Squeeze here. And now we're going to add a rotation to the right. Rotate to the side. Back to center. Rotate. We're trying to look past that back elbow if you can. Here you go. Twist. And twist. Hello. Abdominals. Wow. Twist. Surprising myself here. Twist. It's very deep. 1 more each side. Twist. And twist. Ooh. Open up your knees. Open up your arms. Get a nice stretch through here. Taking your feet together, hands back behind your head. You're going to curl up, start to reach your arms forward. We're just going to lift up off the ball, grabbing onto the ball. Let's take the ball between your knees again, reaching your arms all the way out. Let's take your feet together, knees apart, lifting up through here. We're going to do 1 more roll down. Let's go all the way down. Taking your hands up over your head, let's circle them around, pulling the chin in. Oh my gosh, it's very hard after all that ab work. Feel your abdominals lengthening out through your spine, all the way up. Let's circle them around, pulling the chin in and lift. And then we're going to make our way down onto our elbows. So you're going to take your elbows back behind you. You're going to stay lifted up off the chest. So I want you to try not to sink in through here. Really lifting up. If your neck is hurting in this position here, pull your chin in a little bit more just to give yourself a little bit less pressure there. Start to hover your legs up. Make sure the ball is right in between. Okay. So we're holding this position. Lifting up out of the chest. Feel your abdominals connect before we even begin here. You're going to dip it down very slightly and lift. Tiny dips and lift. Very little and dip. Try to really tap into those low abdominals here. Let's do 1 more. We're going to drop the knees over to the side, so you're rotating in the spine. You're going from one hip to the next. You're going up and over. Let's go over to the side. We're going to twist. Your abdominals are controlling you here. You're staying lifted up off your shoulders. Your fingertips are really light on the floor. So it's mostly about the abdominal lift. And then let's stay over to this side. The opposite side that the arm is on, the legs are over to the right. The left arm is going to extend. You're going to dip it down, lift it up. Tiny dips here. If the arm makes it a little bit too challenging, you can always drop that arm back down here and just do lifts, dips, and lower. Stretch it out and lift. Let's do 3 more. 2 more. 1 more. Whew. Drop it down. Let's go right over to the other side. Stay lifted up off your shoulders. You're shifting your weight slightly onto this arm. Extend your opposite arm out. Dip it down and lift. Reminding myself to lift up too. Keep the abdominals in. Take your tongue on the roof of your mouth if you're finding your jaw starting to grip here. 3 more. So all the little extremities, like your fingertips, your toes, because your jaw is not an extremity, but all those things you can take extra tension in. So I want you to try to relax them. And 1 more. Whew. Bend your elbow. Let's come back to center. Walk your feet into your body here. You're going to take the ball in between your ankles. And then let's lay all the way flat. Down onto the ground. Extend your arms out into a T. Walk your heels into your glutes. Give the ball a nice little squeeze here. You're going to slowly start to tuck and lift all the way up. Let's lift your hips up high, lengthening out of the top of your head. Scoop and roll down, 1 vertebrae at a time. So allowing your spine to articulate here. Lifting it all the way up, stretching through the top of your head. And scoop and roll all the way down. So you're connecting into the glutes. Because the ball is between your ankles, make sure that you're squeezing your ball equally from your big toes, your heels, your little toes are planted. Let's lift all the way up. Keeping the hips up high. We're going to do tiny dips and lift. Very tiny. I want you to really feel the glutes connecting. Try to turn off the quads, turn off the hip flexor. The reason why they're tiny here is to connect and see which part of your body is working the most. So listen to your body. If you're feeling it too much into your quads, shift your weight onto your heels. Feel yourself pulling your knees kind of out over your toes here. Try not to pull everything so inward. You're thinking length away from your body. Let's do 2 more. 1 more. Scoop and roll all the way down. And then we're going to lift right back up. You're going to start to turn your palms up to the ceiling and then hover your arms up off the floor. So from here, you're going to squeeze your arms up above your shoulders. You're going to go out into a T, and then you're going to take your hands up over your head, back to a T. So you're going to go up, open, over your head, keeping your hips up. If you feel like you need a little bit of a break from this bridge, you can also do this arm movement with your hips all the way down to the floor, as long as you're keeping a neutral pelvis and you're not arching your spine. You can still tap into the core that way. You can try both. You might like one more than the other also. And lift. And over your head. 1 more. And then arms stay over your head here. Scoop and roll down 1 vertebrae at a time. Let's take your knees into your chest. Give yourself a little hug here. You rock side to side. We're going to do some rolling like a ball. So grab on underneath your knees. Slowly start to lift up. We're lifting up through the core here. If you're not doing your roll downs, you shouldn't be doing these rolling like a ball, so you can just hang on here. Just take a little ab activation. We're going to scoop and rock it back. Lift it up here and hold. Scoop it back. Lift it up and hold. Scoop it back. And lift. Remind yourself your abdominals are controlling this whole movement. So if you don't get all the way up one time, that's totally fine. You can go all the way back down and try it again. So you're scooping back, lifting up and hold. Let's do 2 more. And lift. 1 more. And lift up and hold. And then let's take a butterfly stretch. Open up those hips. You can take the ball in front of you here. You're going to stretch it all the way out. We're going to do a little bit of a twist stretch. So start to extend one arm all the way out. I'm going to start with my left. You're going to pull the abdominals in. You're going to lift up through here. I want you to twist over to the side, reaching the arm in like a nice rainbow shape. Stretch it all the way out. So we're pulling in the core here. You try not to arch your back, but your abdominals are controlling this movement. Find your butterfly that feels the most relaxed for you. Lift it all the way up. And back. Let's go over to the other side. Reaching the opposite arm out. You're lifting up. Twisting here. Up and over. And lift it up. Nice little twist. Up and over. And last one. And twist. And let's stretch it out. You can roll your ball out. Stretch through the spine. And we're going to lift all the way up through here, and we're going to make our way back onto our hands and knees. So let's do some leg work here, some arm stability. The ball, I'm going to start with the ball in this hand. Your opposite hand is underneath your shoulders. We're shifting your weight forward, keeping the core in, and then checking reminder, the inside of your elbow is rotated forward towards your fingers here so that your shoulders don't collapse. We're going to hold this position. You're going to extend the opposite leg out of the arm of the ball, stretching through that leg, keeping the core and really finding your position first. Make sure that your abdominals are lengthening through the top of your head, also stretching through the opposite leg. We're going to start to hover this leg up. So you're keeping your hip in parallel. You're just going to tap the toe down to the floor, lift it up. Very tiny lifts. My leg is not going to go past my glutes because you want to try to keep your spine as straight as possible. If I start to add it up a little bit, I'm prone to arching my spine, so I know my range of motion here. Really listen to your range of motion. Feel the connection between your hamstring and your glute, like that smile underneath your butt. That's the place that we want to start to lift that leg up from. Let's do one more. Good. And now you're going to hover this leg up and hold. Start to bend your knee down. So you're going to go underneath your hip and extend it out. So your spine still stays nice and long and straight, reaching it out. If you find that you're having wrist issues with the arm that's on the floor, you can go into a fist and lift up through the fist just to keep your wrist a little bit more straight. Work your way towards some strength in that wrist to be able to hold yourself with a flat arm. Let's do two more. And one more. You're going to extend that leg out. We're going to hamstring curl here. Extend the leg out. So you're only bending your heel into your glute as far as you can. Keep your abdominals controlled, controlling the movement. If you bend it too much and you're finding it's taking it into your back, just curl it very slightly. And let's do three more. Two more. And one more. Extend it out and hold. You're going to start to roll this ball out in front of you, reaching out through that arm. You're going to start to draw it in. So you're going to draw it in here, stretch it out. So you're bending your knee in, stretching that arm out, extending it out, bend it in, reach it out. Let's do two more here, and out, one more, all the way out. Hold for a second. Start to roll this ball back underneath your shoulder, dropping this knee down. Let's take your arm facing inwards here. This hand is going to go on the opposite side, and we're going to open up the hip. So you're going to take this opposite leg all the way up, and I want you to feel both hips almost opening up to the side. So if you're finding too much pressure on the supporting knee, you also need to open up that hip. So we're like lifting in and up through here, extending through the leg, holding the position for a second. So you are twisting over to the side. Let's bend this top leg. You're going to tap your ankles together. Start to reach that leg out. Tapping it down, extending it out. Check in with your neck if you're having any sort of neck strain. Look down to the floor, let it fully relax. Bend it here, stretch it out. And out. Let's do three more. And out. Two more. And out. One more. And out. You're going to go into a straight leg. So you're going to look over towards your leg. You're going to stretch that leg out and then rotate your body down to the floor. So if you notice, my arm on the ball is starting to bend. So you're pressing through the arm, bending the elbow down to the floor. Still trying to keep both hips nice and open. All the way out to the side and up. Let's do three more. Up. Two more here. And up. One more. And up. You're twisting down to the floor. Both hips stay open. Tiny pulses up with that top leg. Trying to keep your abdominals in. Tiny pulses up. Let's do 3, 2, 1. Start to tap that toe down to the floor. Lift it up with both hips nice and open. Tap it down. It doesn't have to touch the floor, so if you're finding that your hips are collapsing, if your leg touches the floor, make it a little bit smaller. 2 more. And lift. 1 more. And lift. Whew. So nice. All right, let's take a pigeon stretch. I'm going to do my supporting leg forward because I always find that that leg, the supporting leg, is the one that's kind of hanging on the whole time. That needs to be stretched out a little bit more than the leg that actually has some movement. You can tap on your hip, really get deep inside of there. Drop your head down, give yourself a little bit of a stretch. Take a deep breath. Whew. All right, and then let's also Cross the opposite leg over. You can cross at your knees here, or you can pull your knee into your chest through here. I like to kind of cross and then take my arms out wide, stretch it down here. I find that I can kind of like get into my hips, but find the stretch that feels the best for you here. Okay, let's go right over to the other side. So we're gonna go back onto your knees. Twist my mat just very slightly here. So your hands are underneath your shoulders. Knees are underneath your hips here. And then we're going to start to extend this opposite leg out. I want you to really lengthen out of the spine. So you're lifting up through the core, finding that position where your abdominals are really nice and connected. Your core is lifted. You're going to start to hover that leg up. You're going to start to do tiny pulses up. So try to get that smile area underneath your glute and your hamstring connection. Try to get that working. Try to feel your oblique working, the same leg that's up. Try not to point your toes too aggressively here. You're really trying to use your abdominal. Checking in with your weight, make sure it's in the center of your body. Let's do 2 more. Start to bend the knee in here. Stretch it all the way out. So you're bending the knee in, elongating out of the spine. Keeping really nice and lifted up off your shoulders. Check in with how your wrists are feeling here. Also your pressure on the ball. The more pressure on the ball, the more unstable it becomes on this side. But also it eases up a little bit on the supporting arm. So you want a little bit of weight there, but not too much. And out. You're going to extend it through here. You're going to hamstring curl and reach it out. Hamstring curl it in. Stretch it out. So remind yourself that you're not pulling that leg in too far. You're still controlling it from the abdominals. 2 more. And then 1 more. Stretch it out and hold here. You're going to roll this arm out, lifting up through the core again. You're going to bend the knee in as you draw that ball in. Stretch it out, elongating out through 2 sides of your body. So everything is really lengthening out. Checking in with the length of your neck. Checking in to make sure that you're not arching your spine. And also as your knee comes in, you're not tucking in the pelvis. A million things. But really, first and foremost, listen to your body. Your body will tell you what feels right and what you should take a little break on. And out. 1 more. And out. Start to draw that arm underneath. Bend the knee in here. Amazing. We're twisting over to the side. Okay. So finding this position here. Let's open up that hip, stretching out through the leg. You're going to twist your chest over to the side here. Pulling in the abdominals. You're going to start to bend the knee. Stretch it all the way out. Remind yourself if your neck is aggravating you, you're going to look down to the floor. Or you can just look down to the floor if you feel like that feels right. Stretch it out. Down. And stretch. Let's do 2 more. You also want your eyes to stay focused with your head. So try not to strain your eyeballs by looking around if you can. 1 more. And out. We're going to tap over to the side. As you stretch it out, you're rotating down to the floor. So we're going to go here. Twist and tap up and rotate down to the floor. So you're going to tap here and twist. So your abdominals are starting this twist. They're allowing your upper body to rotate. And up. And down. And up. Let's do 1 more here. We're going to hold the rotation. You're going to tap it down and lift. So now your chest is turned down to the floor. Both hips are externally rotating. And lift. And lift. Let's do 2 more. Lift. 1 more. Lift. Tiny pulses here. Keep the abdominals in. Tiny pulses. Let's do 3, 2, 1. Oh my gosh. Amazing. That felt so good. Let's take a pigeon stretch on the opposite leg that you were at. So if you started with the right, take the left leg forward. Stretch it all the way down. You can tap on that glute also. And then we're going to lift up. You're going to cross at your knees, so make sure that you're doing both sides. I think I did that side already. So I'm going to go this side, lifting up, tap on that opposite hip, hinging forward, getting a nice stretch through here. Now's your chance to check in with your breathing too. Make sure you're breathing. Okay, we're going to lay flat on your back. We're going to use the ball as a pillow. So you're going to take it right in the nape of your neck. I want you to lay all the way down. Okay. We're going to allow your arms to relax out to the side. Drop your pelvis down through here. So this is a really great way to get into the neutral pelvis. You're making your diamond, taking your hands on your pelvis here. If you're finding your fingertips too high, you're in a tuck. Thumbs too high, you're in an arch. You want to try to keep it right into the center. Ribs stay in, arms out to the side. Let's start to hover that right leg up. Drop it down. Let's take your left leg up. Drop it down. So connecting into the core. Trying to reach your arms out. Your arms are going to do some of the work here too to keep your body stabilized. So you want to press them down to the floor. Let's go here. And now you're going to hover that leg up here. Just start to extend it all the way out. Drawing the knee in. So you're extending out. The way to take this out of your hip flexor is to think of your leg as a little bit longer than just where it ends at the hip. So you're finding your whole abdominals stretching out, lengthening out through the leg, keeping the length as your knee comes in, and then continuing to stretch out. So thinking of the body a little bit more as a whole, less of each individual exercise being for one part of your body. So you want to connect everything here. 2 more. And 1 more. Good. And then you're going to drop that foot down, start to hover the opposite leg in, stretching it all the way out, drawing that knee in, stretching it out, drawing the knee in. So reaching it out. Trying to keep your spine as straight as possible. Think of what's happening with the supporting leg here. Try not to grip too much to control the movement. Let's do 1 more. You're going to drop that foot down. Start to hover the opposite leg up. You're going to extend it up and then externally rotate. So you're opening up from the hip. We're going to do tiny circles. You're going to open the leg out to the side, lift it back up. You're going to keep the circle really nice and controlled here. So it's inner thigh, it's pelvic floor, it's abdominal. Try not to hard point the toes. Think energy is extending up out of your leg. Relaxing your neck here. Tiny circles. And 1 more. And reverse the circle. Drop it down and around. Drop it down. So you're keeping your breath going. You can inhale in the down, exhale in the lift. Just make sure that you're breathing here. 1 more. And then drop that leg down. Start to take your opposite leg up. Reach it up to the ceiling. Externally rotate through here. Stretch out through your leg. Tiny circles out to the side. And lift. Check in with your shoulders too. Make sure that your shoulders are relaxed. If you can, you're trying to almost like press your shoulder blades down to the floor. If you're finding the arms out to the side too challenging too, you can take your hands behind the wall. But it gives you a little bit less stability in the lower half of your body. And reverse. And lift. Let's do 3 more. And lift. 2 more. And 1 more. And then drop that leg down. We're going to start to take this leg up. Take this leg up. We're going to extend your legs out. Find a diagonal that feels right for you so that your head can stay down. Your spine elongates. Stretch it out. Keeping the core engaged. Start to do little tiny bicycles here. Check in with your breath. It's a really great chance to really connecting in the core here, especially if you're having any diastasis or anything where you're really trying to zip up through the core. It's really great movements for that. And then reverse. Tiny, tiny circles. Bicycle movements. Let's do 2 more. 1 more. Bend your knees in through here. You're going to open up your legs. You're going to try to externally rotate as much as you can through the hips, almost trying to get your pinky toes together. You're going to dip that shape down and lift it up. Dip it down and lift. Very tiny here. Trying to keep a neutral pelvis. Let's do 3 more. 2 more. And 1 more. We're going to hold this position. You're going to bend your heels in a little bit tighter into your body and then pressing it out to the diamond. So bend it in a little bit tighter. Feel your low abdominals and glutes pulling your heels in, stretching it out. Tiny, tiny, tiny. And out. Let's do 2 more. And out. 1 more. And out. Let's drop 1 foot at a time. You can open up your knees here or stretch your legs all the way out. Your arms stay here. I want you to turn your head over to the side. So you're going to take it over to the side. I want you to allow your head just to let gravity pull it down to the floor. You're going to stretch out of your neck. Let's go over to the other side. Stretch it all the way out. And then come back to center. Bend your knees again. Take your feet in line with your hips. Get back into that neutral pelvis. I want you to take your arms into a goalpost position. So you want to remind yourself that you're pulling in your core. Even though we're going to stretch out in the shoulders here, you're still connecting in here so that your body isn't splayed open. So pulling the arms in a goalpost position. Start to take your hands up over your head. Open it out to the side. Squeezing your arms in here. Opening up out to the side. And open. Remind yourself that you are adding some resistance to your arms. You can feel kind of like a nerve stretch happening in your bicep if you're really opening up the chest. You can have to allow yourself to open up a little more. Open. 1 more. And then you're going to take your hands up over your head. You're going to try to squeeze your fingertips together. Take your hands down by your side here. So we're going to go up and over. So your arms are going slightly behind your head, stretching through the arms. Take it back here, all the way up here, and back. Let's do 1 more, and back. You can take the ball out from behind your neck, roll it down. Let's take this knee into your chest, stretch it out. Opposite knee, stretch it out. And then we're going to lift up. If you need any extra stretches, take them. That was 60 minutes. Great job. Feels so good. Thank you so much for joining me here. Saturday, we did it. Oh, the countdown's starting. Oh, I'm so glad I looked up. I was going to do a ton more stretches, but I don't want to lose this on here. So in case if anybody wants to join later, thank you so much for joining me. That was amazing. I feel so good. I'm so thankful for you all being here. I am still trying to get to questions. I've been thinking of a billion things, but I'm trying to find the best way and the clearest way to get all these questions answered for you so that you can take this, with your practice and try to work on it as well. I love you all so much. We are here on Mother's Day tomorrow, so for all you moms out there, this is super exciting. We'll get you feeling really good for the rest of the day. I love you. Thank you to all new people joining me. And I'll see you again tomorrow. Have a great day. Bye, everybody.